Hey y'all, Erin here with
Timothy,
my first grader. Today we are doing our end of year review for our first grade curriculum with My Father's World, Learning God's Story. So I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm just gonna say I loved it. 10 out of 10, recommend it. It was great. Timothy loves it too. It went really well this year. I love it because it's just so smooth, flows together, gentle, and the best part is just such a good Bible-based curriculum. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is the teacher's manual. I use the teacher's manual every single day because it lays out what to do. It makes it so easy. And then the very beginning, which is very helpful, it does a lesson review. So right here it says what Bible history thing, reading, math, and science, what you're doing each week. So that is super helpful. And then of course in the back, it tells you extra read alouds you can do. So I love the teacher's manual, so helpful. I used it every day. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is what I consider is the meat and potatoes of this curriculum. The Bible reader and the Bible notebook. I love this so much. So I think you start this on, yeah, good idea, you can flip the pages. We started this, I think, around week 12. And so you start out real slow. For the first one, you spend almost 2 weeks working on it, creation, which is awesome. And then you start doing 1 a week. And then you start doing 2 a week. And then you start, so at first you'll do like just the title of the story and the illustration. And then by the last few weeks of school, you are reading the Bible story, the title, and a few sentences. So, I just think this was such a great curriculum. I'm gonna do a flip through this later so you guys can see what it looks like. But this was by far my favorite thing about this curriculum. And this is just really the meat and potatoes because it's reading, it's writing, it's handwriting, it's illustrating. It's got so much history, all these things combined. So it's so good. The next thing I'm gonna talk about is the Bible supplements that make this curriculum so nice. So the first thing I'll talk about was, you wanna hold this? We have a proverb of the week. And so the way we would do it is Monday we would introduce it. Tuesday, Timothy would write it.
Yes.
And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we would practice saying it. And then we would just hang this in our homeschool area so if we needed to refer to it, then we could. So that was a really nice thing to add to our homeschool. I loved it. The next thing I wanna talk about is this. What is this, Timothy?
Books of the Bible.
The books of the Bible. So the way they did this, you can hold this for Mama. The way they did this is that you had 1 book a day for several weeks. So for actually several months. But so you just go nice and slow. You say the book and what it was about and a little bit of information about it. And so throughout the whole year, you learn about every single book in the Bible. So that was very helpful. And I love this part. It went really well with the Bible reader and Bible notebook. The next thing I want to talk about are these 2 books, these 2 resources. I've talked a lot about this book in previous videos. I just can't talk enough about it because it's one of my favorite things. This is the My Big Book of 5-Minute Devotions. And even if you don't have My Father's World, I recommend this book because it's so interesting. They're short stories, but they're interesting and they have good questions to follow up. And even my 1-year-old and my 3-year-old would pay attention. So this is just a great way to start devotions in the morning. Great book, great resource, loved it. The other book, which is a Tales on Cherryland. This is a My Father's World exclusive resource. They have stories about the 10 Commandments, and do you remember the other stories? The fruit of the Spirit. Yeah, so they had it in a story format so they could talk about those issues and it was really good. So great book as well. So definitely those are my top 2 favorite things about this curriculum. The Bible reader, Bible notebook, and then all of the resources that they include, the devotions, book of the Bibles, and then the proverb. Next thing I'm gonna talk about is math. Did you like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, first grade math is awesome. We loved it. So some of the big things that we talked about in first grade math was, what's this?
Clocks.
The clocks. And then also, what do we have in here? Money.
Clock.
So the clock came with the curriculum and then I just bought some money and then we used this when we were doing our money unit. And then There's some money pages. And then also using these 100 charts were very helpful as well when we're doing money, because when you talk about counting by 2s and pennies, counting by 5s, nickels, and dimes were counting by 10. So really, really enjoyed this math workbook. We did time, we did money, we did addition, we did types of measurement, we did graphs, we did a little bit of geometry. So lots of interesting things. First grade math, 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. Good stuff. All right, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is, this was a workbook that was included called Learning God's Story. It was a lot of phonics and handwriting, different things like that. We had a slow start to this, but I would say it definitely improved.
I like those.
Timothy really liked these.
And not those, because these, I don't just like these. I like
Yeah, he liked these. So, yeah, it was, like I said, slow start, but it definitely improved throughout the year. All right, so talking about how everything flows so well together, because this was Learning God's Story, it was history. One of the very nice things about this was we started working on a timeline. So they had, you could do these strips of paper. So what we would do is just color them, cut out, and then you can lay it out and put it in order. And I think this is just so lovely because throughout the next couple years of curriculum, we're gonna be adding to that timeline. So the timeline will always be part of our history. So, yep, so we just colored them, cut them out, and then we can lay them on timeline. So this was another reinforcement for what we were doing in the Bible Reader, Bible Notebook. So I did enjoy the timeline. All right, next I'm gonna talk about science. All right, so for science this year, we did science with water and science with plants. And then our third book was things outdoors. So I thought science was sufficient. It was good. It was not super exciting. I guess we didn't do all the experiments, but I felt like reading the books were enough. I think each year we're gonna just build and build and build upon that. So for first grade, this was really good. All right, the next thing I wanna talk about is art. So really,
card.
Yeah, you wanna kind of flip through the art cards?
This is the first one I did.
Yeah. And I love this part because it's starting, this is very Charlotte Mason, because it's talking about studying famous pieces of art. So these cards were really nice because you'd see who the artist was and a little bit about each artwork, and then they had discussion questions.
There's a spider there, and then there's a butterfly there, and I can...
So it's just studying the art and seeing what you notice. So I just really thought this was a lovely addition to our homeschool. And I think we'll continue doing stuff like this in the future. And included a little book that you could talk about all of those pieces of art. So I loved it. All right, now my favorite part, the books. Books are my love language, right? I say that almost every video. So one of my favorite things about homeschool is just the amount of books that we read and what we get to read together, and watching him progress in his reading. And so I'll talk about our read alouds first, because read alouds is one of my favorite parts. So in the very beginning of the school year, I think we did Here's a Penny, we did Dolphin Adventure, Mrs. Pickle Wiggle, A Grain of Rice. I'll talk about this one last. And then we spent the majority of our year reading Magic Tree House. If you have not read these books, I so recommend them. They're so good, interesting, entertaining, adventure. The main characters, Jack and Allie, they love each other. They have a good relationship. Also, all of my kids paid attention. My first grader, my 3-year-old, and my 1-year-old, they all paid attention to the books. They're short enough that they can hold their attention. You're gonna read 1 chapter, 5 chapters, or all 10 chapters in one setting. So I just love Magic Tree House.
The Africa one and the one in the rainbows and the gorilla one.
Yeah,
I like them.
They're so good. And then the last read aloud we did was the Penderwit.
We're finishing up right now.
We're finishing it up right now. So we have, for Timothy, I think 2 more chapters to go. And I can't remember who says this quote, I should have looked it up, but someone says when you're reading books for children, they should be interesting for the adults as well. And this one really captivated me. It was a cute relationship between the sisters, and they had I was just really thinking about, I think this was published in 2005. They had no TV or electronics or anything, but they were just always playing. And so I just really enjoyed that. Great book, definitely recommend it. All right, next I'm gonna talk about what Timothy read. So what are these books?
Bob.
So these are the Bob books.
I won't read them again.
Okay, yeah, you'll probably be able to read these real easy. So we started out the year with Bob books, and then within a few weeks we quickly moved on. And so one of the things that they talk about, so what I'm gonna have you do is just kind of hold it up like this and put it down, all right? So we'll maybe go through all of them. But we started out with the Bob books, and then we kind of worked our way through, and I would say, all right, I want you to find like a level 1 or level 2 book, and then we would just try to read for about 10 minutes every day. We didn't do it every day, but that was our goal. And the goal was for having him pick the stories so that they would be interesting. And in one of my videos I talked, when we read the Avengers books, that was really helpful when he started reading things that he was familiar with and that were interesting to him. So I just absolutely loved watching him improve in his reading this year. And we're almost to his favorite ones. There they are. So these were just some of the read alouds we did. I just kind of had them close by. But all in all, we loved this year. First grade was just a lovely year. It was definitely more work than kindergarten, and second grade is going to be more work than first grade, but that's the way it goes. You just build upon each year and it improves. Yeah, this is a poetry book, Animals, Animals. This was the read aloud that was included in the curriculum, and we did this for the first few weeks in the beginning, and then we moved on to other things, but this was a good book as well. Sure, as you can see, we do still love My Father's World. So we already purchased the second grade curriculum, and I will be doing an unboxing video for that coming up soon. And I am finishing up my daughter Evie's preschool curriculum, so I'll do it in a year review on that as well. So if you're interested, I hope you will follow along with us. Probably my biggest challenge was just homeschooling with 2 little ones. So that was the most challenging part. But they're getting older, so I think it's just gonna get easier and easier as far as keeping them entertained. But that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope this was interesting or entertaining or informative for you. And see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. See you next time. Doing well, and I'm enjoying it.
I thought you were gonna show all the pictures in Bible reading on Bible.
Oh, I will show that later. We'll set that up later so that people can look at it. All right, y'all. I said I was gonna give you guys a flip through of the Bible notebook so you can see how the work progresses through the year. This is something we use quite a bit. So the first one was the creation story, and this one we ended up working about 2 weeks on it, but it was very fun to work on. And as we go through, you're gonna start seeing that the narration, the writing gets more detailed.
Cherryland.